Hi, I'm Brian LaRosa with LaRosa's Trains. Today we're going to take a look at the two old pre-war Tinplate O-gauge electric locomotives. Of the two electrics featured in this video, the green one up front is a Lionel 252 electric locomotive, while the orange one in the back appears to be made by another company called Ives. Okay, now this is going to be a pretty quick review on both of these engines, but I want to point out that I'm a really big fan of Tinplate trains. Now these electrics are not my first Tinplate engines. I've collected a Tinplate before. My first Tinplate engine was the Lionel 259E steam engine. In fact, I did a review on that a few years ago, and you can view that in my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on Tinplate engines, and you know, a lot of Tinplate enthusiasts age in their 60s or older, especially some who have already retired from work. In contrast, I'm only in my early 20s, but I still love Tinplate trains nonetheless. And it's kind of like watching an old movie from the 1920s or 30s, the years before World War II. And it's good to know some history of toy trains by enjoying pre-war trains. So let's get started. It all started when I received these engines as sort of a belated Christmas present in early January of this year. In fact, I posted the first photos of these engines onto my Facebook page as well as the blog on my website. And when I opened them out of the box, I was almost certain that they needed some repairs. And so when I first tested them on my layout, none of them worked at all. And so I needed to send these engines to my favorite train store, which is Engine House Hobbies. Now, there's a friendly guy who does the repairing of engines at the train store. His name is Louis D'Angelo. He's a great guy, and he did a great job fixing my old pre-war engines. And when I sent them to Engine House Hobbies, first the owner of the train store, Ken Furlick, did a diagnostic, some sort of a diagnostic on these engines, and one of them, which is the green one, it was observed that the wheels on this engine were worn out, and so the 252 electric needed the wheels replaced. And I think both of these engines also needed their E units replaced, which are the electric reversing units there. And then so it took Louis some time to fix these engines, mainly because he had other customers to take care of. But about a month later, around February of this year, these are finally fixed, and when I tested them on my layout, they worked much better. And so I was really happy with it. Okay, let's go over the Lionel 252 locomotive first. The 252 was made by Lionel between 1926 and 1935. originally Lionel made the 250 electric, which was only cataloged in 1926. Now, the main difference between these two electrics, the 250 and the 252, is that the 250 does not have the E unit, but this unit, the 252, does have the E unit, which can be easily distinguished with this control handle up on top. Now, a lot of pre-war locomotives like this one were sort of based on the Milwaukee roads bipolar electric locomotives, which were built by General Electric around the 19-teens. Now I've found the information on that locomotive from a website called train99.com, and the link will be posted at the bottom of the screen. So if you'd like to learn more, please use this link at the bottom of the screen. Next in line is the orange electric locomotive. Now, like I said, this locomotive appears to be made by Ives. Now, if you're not familiar with Ives, the Ives Manufacturing Company was a toy company founded around 1868, and when it entered the toy train market, it manufactured both standard gauge and O gauge trains, and it competed with Lionel and several other pre-war manufacturers up until the late 1920s or early 30s, when Lionel seemed to outsell its products over Ives, which led to the bankruptcy of Ives trains. Today, there are a few reproductions of Ives trains, particularly the ones made by MTH in the beginning around the early 2000s. And I think I've seen only standard gauge reproductions of the Ives trains from MTH. And so because I collect MTH products, I do love Ives trains. In fact, I do like any kind of tinplate trains. When I took this engine out of the box, I was almost certain that this was made by Ives. But oddly enough, this locomotive does not have any labels all around. Not even at the bottom of the engine when you turn it over. And then shortly after I posted the photo of this engine on Facebook, one of my Facebook fans commented on my photo, explaining that this engine was most likely made by Ives, and the guy who commented on is named John Grayson. So if you're watching this video, John, I thank you very much for your contribution regarding this locomotive. Now, again, I'm not an expert in tinplate trains, but my guess is that this engine is probably a 3250 series locomotive from Ives. And so it's a really nice engine, regardless of its model name. Now, some tinplate electrics, like like this one, were somewhat modeled after the New York Central S motor electric locomotives built by a partnership with Alco and GE, where Alco built the locomotive while GE supplied the electrical components to that engine. So that pretty much sums up my review on these two beautiful O-gauge Tinplate electric locomotives. Now, of course, the last part of this video is the fun part, which is running these engines. Now the first one I'll be running will be the green one, and then after that I will run the orange one. So that's it for now. I enjoyed these Tinplate engines in action. I'm Brian LaRosa, and I'll see you next time.